There's this feeling that creeps in as we age. Am I too late? In a world obsessed with youth, speed, and overnight fame, getting older can make you second-guess your place. But what if the race doesn't end the way we think it does? What if real, lasting success is less about speed and more about endurance?
Run, Forrest, run!
This video is your reminder that in the music industry, and in life in general, hard work still wins. But before we dive in, if you enjoy music-related discussions like this one, it would mean the world to me if you would hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It actually helps a lot more than you'd think, and I'll be reading and replying to all of your comments. Let's talk about some real examples of people who were, as they say, late bloomers. In music, as in life, the people who stick with their craft long enough often find a moment of unexpected breakthrough. So here are some people across music and art that prove that success has no age limit. Beato. If you're watching this video, chances are you're also a musician, which means you've probably heard of Beato. He's one of my favorite YouTubers and a huge inspiration for me. In the early years of his career, he worked as a session musician, producer, engineer, and teacher at various universities, including Berkeley. Then when he started his YouTube channel, he was making really high-quality educational videos, which did pretty well, but didn't necessarily propel him into the spotlight. But in 2016, when he was 54, he posted some videos of his son, who has an insane level of perfect pitch. Like, much better than your average perfect pitch, which is already quite rare.
A, C sharp, B flat, C, G, A flat. C augmento for D flat augmented. Yeah, 9 over F major.
Those videos went extremely viral for obvious reasons and propelled his channel forward. With his newfound social media presence, he upped his video production game, doing song analysis and of course his famous criticisms of the Spotify Top 10.
I remember this. Screechy vocal thing in there. It's so weird. If you guys like that though.
And now he has nearly 5 million subscribers. Sharon Jones. Sharon Jones was an awesome soul and funk singer, but for many years she worked as a prison guard at Rikers Island, and then as the driver of an armored car. She participated in many talent shows and performed in choirs, but she was constantly told that she was too short, too black, and even too old to make it in the music industry. Then one day, she went to a background vocals session with Lee Fields. She was the only one out of 3 people who showed up, so she ended up doing all the background vocals tracks by herself. The producers were so impressed with her performance that they decided to feature her on an album that they were making, which led to her career taking off when she was 40. Now, she's known as an acclaimed soul revivalist. Maybe you've heard of this song.
100 days, 100 nights, but no man's heart.
Susan Boyle. I think one of the most famous examples of this is Susan Boyle. I vividly remember this super viral moment when the entire audience laughed at her before she even started singing.
I'm trying to be a professional singer.
And why hasn't it worked out so far, Susan?
I've never been given the chance before, but here's hoping it'll change.
And who would you like to be as successful as?
Elaine Page.
What are you going to sing tonight?
I'm going to sing I Dreamed a Dream from the Miserables.
Which, by the way, is absolutely awful. Would that still have happened today? I feel like nowadays, bullying someone like that as a crowd wouldn't fly. In fact, I think this event was kind of like a cultural turning point, because even though social media can be really mean, it's not as common to get made fun of on stage for how you look. Anyways, that was horrible, but as soon as she started singing, the crowd was shocked because her voice is extremely impressive.
I dreamed a dream in time gone by.
That was in 2009 when she was 47 years old. After that performance, she achieved mainstream success and became what they call a public darling. She went on to release an album, go on tour, and right now is still a pretty successful singer. Grandma Moses. Grandma Moses was a folk painter who didn't even start painting until she was in her 70s. She spent most of her life as a wife and mother who had a talent for embroidery. But later in her life, she developed arthritis, which unfortunately made embroidery too painful. So she started painting instead. And ironically, that's what got her famous. When life gives you lemons, you know? One day, an art collector spotted her paintings in a drugstore, which led to her work being featured in an art exhibition. From then on, her career flourished. Here are some of her paintings. They offer a comforting and optimistic optimistic perspective of a familiar world, something that contrasts with the constant anxiety of modern life. It's very peaceful and picturesque, and that's what a lot of people appreciated about her work. Her most famous painting is this one, which sold for $1.2 million when she was 83 years old.
How much?
You want to buy it?
Yeah, we have to have it.
Her life is a great story to reflect on, not just because of success at an old age, but also because she achieved that success in the midst of hardship. Sometimes a really traumatic or painful event can be the reason that something amazing happens. Anyways, there's more examples, but you get the point. There's no such thing as playing catch-up because everyone has their own path. Maybe you're just one session away from being noticed. Maybe no one else shows up, and what was supposed to be a backup gig becomes your breakthrough. Success isn't always just about being first. Sometimes you have to stay in the game long enough for the culmination of your talent to shine through. Why we compare and why it's so dangerous. Comparison. It's drilled into your head since the beginning because it's in our survival instincts. It's not easy to get rid of that type of tendency because, well, it's in our genes. If you noticed someone gathering food more efficiently, building better tools, or gaining status in the tribe, comparison drove you to compete. It reinforced social cohesion and kept individuals from falling too far outside the group's norms. It was basically an evolutionary tool to see where you stand, what you lack, and how you can improve. But now that we have 24/7 highlight reels and perfectly filtered lives, that instinct backfires. It really is the darn phone. We're comparing our everyday lives to someone else's edited version of perfection. You might post a demo that gets 14 plays. Then you scroll and see an 18-year-old post a song with 3 million. Now your progress feels invisible. But social media doesn't show the daily monotony, the burnout, the mental health crisis, the hundreds of takes, the many failed ideas. Comparison used to help us improve, but now it mostly makes us feel small. And when you feel small, lots of people give up. Nowadays, comparison is where confidence and creativity go to die. If you want to thrive in music or anything creative, you need to understand something. Your only real competition is your previous self.
You see this guy here staring back at you? Yeah? That's your toughest opponent.
It might not be universally true, but being older can be an advantage. Not just in music, but in many creative and professional fields. You've lived more, so you've had more time to practice and curate your craft. You've developed taste and have a stronger sense of self than you did when you were barely an adult. You've even failed more. So now you've learned resilience. What you have to offer the world is, most likely, wiser and more meaningful than what you did when you were 20. A lot of times you don't have to catch up to success. It's literally something you grow into, because with age comes depth. And depth creates work that lasts. It might seem like everything depends on luck. Everything's about algorithms and going viral, getting your one shot at 15 seconds of fame. But that's not the whole truth. Behind every overnight success is years of invisible work. Behind every influencer lies hundreds of videos that didn't go viral, and many of them are archived. Everyone talks about Sabrina Carpenter and Charlie XCX and how they're the hottest new artists. Now, they certainly had a certain amount of luck with how exponentially huge their music became. But it's just not accurate to say that either of them are new. Sabrina released 6 albums before she really took off. That's actually so much music, much more than many people twice her age ever put out in total. I remember back in 2020 when Leve had like 6,000 followers, so I asked her if she wanted to do a collab. And she said yes, but we never actually made a video together. And yes, I regret that a lot. Then I watched as every single day she posted a new video. I'm not exaggerating, the girl is a content machine. She was extremely consistent, probably more than any musician I've ever seen on social media. Maybe a year later, I saw one of her posts and randomly just decided to click on her profile out of curiosity. And suddenly she had more than 1 million followers. That's when I realized our collab was probably not gonna happen. Then I started hearing her music everywhere. Adam Neely did a video on her, her album is on the charts, Gen Z is obsessed with her, but I swear to you, it did not happen overnight. I watched as she worked harder than everyone else on the internet, and I believe that's why she's on the red carpet nowadays. Speaking of Adam Neely, he started his channel 20 years ago. Nowadays, his videos are flawless and perfectly edited, and he has millions of followers. But in the beginning, he didn't have all that production value or fame. He earned everything he has with hard work and hundreds of videos. What about Corey Wong? He recently turned 40 and he's pretty famous these days.
It's Corey Wong!
He is an excellent musician. I'm a fan, but he certainly did not blow up overnight. He didn't get that amazing at guitar overnight either. The reason he is famous and successful and amazing right now is because he has just never stopped. He has released an insane amount of albums. Like, I actually didn't believe it when I first looked it up, but I double checked, and indeed, he has not taken a break even once. Guess how many albums he has? I'll give you a second. If you said 6, you're wrong. 10? Still wrong. Even 15 is still too low. Cory Wong has released a total of 19 albums. I can't even comprehend that number. Oh, and if we're counting live albums, it's actually 29. Plus, he knows how to do everything. He's put so much time and effort into being a well-rounded musician. He plays pretty much every instrument, so on his earlier albums, it's mostly him. He also mixes and masters really well, so he did that too. He's also clearly spent a lot of time practicing being a showman. I remember going to one of his concerts like 8 or 9 years ago in Minnesota, and by that time it was already really evident. I actually sold his merch at a little desk in the corner during that show. I had a great time, but I'll get back to my point. Back in the day, Marques Brownlee celebrated his 100th video with all of his 70 subscribers. That video to subscriber ratio would be demoralizing to most people. If it had been me, I probably would have quit. But now, Marques is literally the most famous technology influencer on YouTube. He can make or break entire companies just with one opinion.
This thing is bad at almost everything it does, basically all the time.
I swear to you, in most cases, anyone really successful is the result of a lot of hard work. Never giving up after a couple of lousy performances or videos. Never quitting because they feel like they aren't at the level they want to be. What I'm trying to say is hard work pays off. Even if you never get to the virality of Brat Summer, you will still be a lot better off than someone who coasts by on talent alone. And here's the thing. The longer you live, the longer you have to put in the work. And in a world full of fast content, hard work and consistency is a superpower. So if you're watching this video, here's the main takeaway. You are not too late. You are not invisible. If you still have songs in your heart, write them. If you still can play your instrument, record it. If you've lived through a story, tell it. Regardless of what you see in the media, there's actually no magic number when it ends.
At 50, well, it stops.
It isn't true. Your best work, your viral moment, your big break might still be ahead of you, and the people who are meant to listen to your work will find you. But there's a catch. It only works if you keep going. So if you're passionate about what you do, never give up. Don't compare yourself to others around you. Just keep singing, playing, and creating. Because in the end, hard work still wins. If this spoke to you, leave a comment with where you're at on your journey. Right now, I'm finishing my album and trying to start a career on YouTube. So here's to both of us. Let's keep showing up and improving because for all we know, the best is still ahead of us. If you liked this video, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. And from one artist to another, cheers!